Hello there. Welcome back to my vlog on public speaking. Today, I want to talk about the vital importance of knowing your audience before you even write your speech or presentation or course. And that's in order to serve them best. Here are some questions to think over to take the full measure of the power and necessity to know your audience. Let's take a moment to reflect on the following questions. 1. How successful do you think you would be at presenting a subject to a total stranger on the street? 2. Would you give the same speech the same way, say on social justice, to inmates at a maximum security prison as you would to monks in a monastery? 3. When you're the last one to speak at a conference, late at night, to a tired audience, would you go about your speech the same way as you'd been second in the afternoon? 4. If you're doing a presentation on very technical things about the latest technology, what is essential to know about your audience to prepare the best presentation for them? 5. Could fundamental values, beliefs, common to most of your audience have any effect on how they understand and receive your message? 6. Would you use the same examples, the same data or info, the same motivations, the same exercise suggestions, the same diet suggestions on a speech about physical training and how to get back into your best shape if you were giving it to teenagers, to professional athletes, or to retired professionals? 7. How would you know how to touch the hearts of most people in the audience if you were to promote a particular charity? 8. How can you communicate and transfer your passion about your subject in the most effective manner to your audience? 9. What is the first thing you normally do or you normally want to do to connect with someone you meet for the first time? Number 10. What should you normally do to get someone to collaborate with the most dedication to a project you are leading? 11. What should you do before you can sell anything or any idea to anyone? 12. What do you usually need to know before you can help anyone on anything? 13. What is an infallible way to be the best conversationalist? 14. What do you think is common to most of the speakers that moved you, had a great effect on you, that you felt a connection with? Now, a lot of circumstances will limit the level of knowledge you can have of your audience. In other words, circumstances are rarely perfect. You may get the invitation short notice, limiting your time for any extensive research. The organizers of the event might know little about the audience and provide little information. You might be talking in front of such a big crowd that you can just expect to have a lot of everything in it. But no matter what circumstances you'll be in, you should always do your very best to know as much as you can possibly find about your audience. When I say know as much as you can, I don't mean just anything and everything. There is a certain set of questions you should find the answers to. These questions must connect your audience with your subject. For example, suppose you are giving a speech about social justice. You should research the average age of your audience. If they're mostly coming from the same religious background, and what religious background? What is their average political profile? What are their professions or trades or occupations? You see, All the answers to these questions will allow you to find the best angle for your subject, the best language to communicate with. You can have the intention to move them from their present position to a wider one, but you'll never succeed at it by shocking them or directly attacking their present beliefs. Thus, the importance of knowing their political profiles, their religion, their work environment, etc. When asked, how successful do you think you'd be presenting your subject to a total stranger on the street? I can almost hear you asking, well, who would that be, Like the homeless on the corner of the street, the lawyer running out of his office late for a meeting, the city worker cleaning up the sidewalk, the young loving couple slowly walking by hand in hand. That's because whatever your subject, you would adapt your presentation very differently for each one of those people. In other words, how can you hope to use the optimal language, the optimal angle, the optimal ideas, the optimal emotions if you don't have a clue of who you will be talking to? In a previous question, where you were to give a presentation on physical training and how to get back into your best shape, the nature of your audience would take you in opposite directions. You would put the teenagers to sleep with a talk aimed at the retired professionals, as you could scare and discourage many teens if the presentation you were to give them was aimed at the professional athletes. If you're giving a presentation on a very technical subject, the level of knowledge of your audience on the subject can call for dramatically different presentations. Now, about the previous question, what is the first thing you normally do when you want to connect with someone you meet for the first time? Well, you'll ask for their name, where they're from, what they do in life. You'll ask about their family. You'll ask about their passion, etc. In other words, you'll try to learn about them. You should have the same approach when you're going to speak to a new group. Of course, you can't start your talk with a long list of questions to learn about them. It would be awkward and your time is limited. This means you'll have to do some homework ahead of your talk. And believe me, it will be time well spent. The great Dale Carnegie said that the people considered as the best conversationalists were the ones that talked about the other, not about themselves. Your interlocutor's life, accomplishments, interests, family are the most interesting subjects you can talk about with them. So you can extend this to your speeches and presentations. People in the audience must feel you are all in for them and about them, talking about them, their lives, their preoccupations. Now, let me tell you, I'm a musician, and I read a book written about performing music in front of audiences, written by the great Livingston Taylor. It's an assemblage of years of lectures he gives on the subject at Berklee College of Music. He brings the idea, this reality, I must say, that a music performance really is a conversation between the musician and his audience. Moreover, he argued that great musical performances always involved the musician's capacity to feel the audience and the constant awareness of the effect of the music performance on them. And he takes it further, saying that when you're on stage, you're like the captain of a ship, and you have to look after the well-being of all your passengers. He goes as far as including in the performer's responsibilities the room temperature, the performance of the sound equipment, the quality of the lighting, even managing members of the audience that need to behave less disruptively and more respectfully. Of course, if this applies to live music, you realize that they totally apply in public speaking too. And if you wonder about ways to generate the feeling of having a conversation with your audience, why not ask questions and listen? The audience can turn your speech or presentation into the most interesting one and in the most unexpected ways if you only allow them. They can feed you with amazing ideas and questions. And always remember that when a question is asked by one member of the audience, many others have the same question in mind, but just don't care to ask or are just too embarrassed to. So your answer will serve many more. And one last point, but not the least, knowing your audience will help you greatly to maximize a powerful aspect of all communications, and that is engaging emotions and the transfer of emotions. For example, the greatest sales teachers and coaches will tell you that people rarely buy out of rational reasons. No, they buy out of emotions. Then they'll justify it with rational reasons. Don't we recognize ourselves in this? Oh, you might say that when you buy something, it's most of the time something you needed. Yeah, sure, but why did you need that brand, that color, that model? If you pay attention a little more, you'll realize that there is a lot more involved than just your rational thinking. And this is because we are creatures of feelings and emotions. They constitute a big part of our reality. So as a public speaker, even on one-on-one talks for that matter, we must always make sure that we are communicating the emotional individual in front of us and from our true emotions. I say true here because it's not a game or an acting gig. People are able to see through you when you're not true. Ensuring that you have deeply felt the right emotions right from the moment you were writing your speech or presentation will set you up for a powerful and impactful talk. On the next vlog, I'll tell you a little story and give you an example of a very rational context where emotions were present in a great deal and used to a great effect on the audience. So if you enjoyed, click the like button to help me reach others like you who care about public speaking. And don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss anything coming up. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.